in. Oh, it's been so long, Ini. I love it.
Yeah, it's been so long, and I cannot even pretend I've missed it. I mean, I've missed being on the show with you, believe you
I know.
me.
We
And
missed having you.
so when I got the call to be here, I punched the air in delight. I said, I'm certainly going to see Sope Martins. I'm going to be in the studio with her. It's an absolute pleasure.
Tega is not one to get jealous, but I have to say, people and I was like, oh, any something, 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 something. Oh, any. I was just like, oh, wow. So you people have adopted any. She's now one of y'all, huh? That's so good. All right,
Brilliant.
people. So any Monday is in. You'll know him as the voice of Total Football, one of the voices of Total Football. Let me not give you the whole thing, but he's also here inside the locker room. So make sure you send your messages in to any to me and let us know what's going on with you and the sports. 0809 440 981 is the WhatsApp number. You can send your tweets in as well using the hashtag LockerRoom981, and you can take things over to youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos because we're streaming live, people, and we are taking your comments up on the live chat. Okay, so let's talk World Cup because come on. But let's talk Senegal because so sad. Well, England set up a huge World Cup quarterfinal showdown with defending champions France after easing past Senegal with a 3-0 victory in the last 16. After a sluggish start at the Al Bayt Stadium, England burst into life in the 39th minute when Jude Bellingham brilliantly set up Jordan Henderson for the opener. So here's the thing, and this is what I'm going to say. I find this very, very sad. That's okay. So Amy put this in, and the headline reads: Senegal World Cup run ends, right? But Senegal is like the afterthought of this thing. Have you noticed? It's like England, France, Senegal. Oh yeah, they're out. I'm sad,
man. It didn't go according to plan, and we're really enjoying Senegal and start of the World Cup where their star man Sadio Mane was ruled out of the tournament. It felt like it was going to be a very difficult tournament for them, and it proved to be a difficult game for them last night. But they've had a good run in the tournament, getting into the round of 16.
They tried.
They really played well, and the game didn't go according to plan. They started so well, created a couple of chances, a good save from Boulaye Dia, from Jordan Pickford, and I kept feeling like if Senegal scored first, then they give themselves a real chance of really making a statement in that game. But the minute England scored first, you felt like Senegal were going to be desperate. And once you start getting desperate, the gaps will begin to appear, and England took advantage. I really thought Senegal win the game. I really felt like it's a sort of game Senegal can go in with a lot of belief because England haven't been spectacular, let's be honest. And the way England played yesterday, they showed a side of them that I never quite saw it coming. Brilliant counter-attack. Phil Foden on the counter was just quite incredible. But credit has got to go to that Senegal squad. When you lose your star man like Mane, just literally a couple of days to the World Cup, and it's never a good feeling. But, they dusted themselves and went to the World Cup and gave a really good account of themselves.
Oh my days. So I'm just seeing this about JJ Okocha, who was like, oh yeah, Senegal is going to beat them. It was not to be. All I could think was when the results came out, right? That one person who 3 minutes before the game started was like, Senegal! Then I was now thinking of them and just shaking my head like, no. It wasn't to be.
Yeah, happens.
It happens. What can you do? All right, so let's move on to Lionel Messi. And I have to say the debate around Messi has been real interesting, especially in the British media. Like, some people were like, oh my gosh, amazing, man of the everything. And then others like, who do you think you are? Like, what's going on with you and Messi? Is he everything? Messi scratches his nose and it's the best thing ever. He found gold. No, he didn't. So it's been like, I've just been watching. I haven't been watching Messi. I've been watching the back and forth about Messi. So anyway, he produced a moment of trademark quality to score the opener in a 2-1 win over Australia and help send Argentina into the quarterfinals of the World Cup on Saturday. Yeah, okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's a monkey on the back of Lionel Messi. He wants to win the World Cup. There's this constant debate about not being the greatest player in the world, or maybe not even the greatest Argentine ever. When you talk about Diego Maradona, Maradona won the World Cup. Messi hasn't won the World Cup. He's played in the final, and that constant debate, sometimes he may not admit it, but it's on his mind,
Come on, man, this is his last chance.
Exactly. It's last chance saloon, and he's got to go out there and prove to the world that he's the GOAT. There are many people who think, oh, Ronaldo is the GOAT. Oh, many people say, oh, Pele is the GOAT. Oh, Maradona is the GOAT. Messi wins the World Cup and all that debate ends. And he's showing gradually that he's peaking at the right moment, because they started the tournament in not too good fashion, losing to Saudi Arabia of all teams. And they've managed to find their way back into the tournament little by little, winning games, just showing that sprinkling of quality. But Messi is really at that point where you feel like he's starting to enjoy himself. And when he starts to enjoy himself, he looks unstoppable. And the British media can whine all they want, but Lionel Messi is one of the greatest the world has ever seen. It's an absolute pleasure to watch him play football.
See, that's the thing for me when it comes to Messi. He plays like he's playing.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah, he plays like Cristiano Ronaldo. When you watch him, you're like, this guy
is hard work.
He's working.
Exactly.
He's
hard putting in the work.
And he deserves it. But Lionel Messi's like, I'm playing. This is a game.
He's just enjoying himself. And that's what people do not understand when, the debate about who is better, who is greater. I certainly think that Ronaldo is the greatest goal scorer the world has ever seen. But in my opinion, the greatest footballer ever, and I know many people are going to disagree, is Lionel Messi. He just makes football look so simple, so easy. And like you're saying, Messi just plays like he's just playing. It feels like he kick about in his garden or somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like that. He's just enjoying himself.
He's a great one to watch, right? Yeah. All right, so Cruz says, did I just hear football lovers and drivers? Say if you love football, if you love driving. Okay, it's all here inside the locker room. Calm down, Cruz. Josh has written Ini a letter. Dear Ini, you're saying all the right things to Shokpa this morning, and it got me smiling. Please don't stop. We need Chopper to blush some more on this show because of how much you missed Locker. We love it. And Tayo says, France polished the polls, and that Lewandowski goal was charity by the ref. He took pity on him like, since we can't give you man of the match, manage this penalty. Oh my gosh. Yinka Bolu says, oh, nobody will argue that with you. My wife, who doesn't watch football, is crazy about Messi. And Cruz is back, says, you're right, though. Please, we're on fuel cues, enjoying the analysis. You keep going. All right, moving on now. So let us talk about Otto Addo, who has left his role as manager of Ghana following the team's elimination from the World Cup. So was appointed head coach of the national side earlier this year, took charge of 12 matches, had 4 wins, 3 draws, and 5 defeats, and now he's out.
Yeah, it's a bit of a funny one. People are saying, excuse me, an African coach resigning after seeming failure at the tournament. I don't think Ghana failed at the tournament. They were in an impossible group, even though they made things a lot harder for themselves in some of the games they played. And the coach resigns after the tournament. Everyone said, oh, wow, there's a real change. An African coach resigns after a tournament. And it's never happened before. Hardly happens, I have to say. But he's got a job at Borussia Dortmund as their talent development coach. And it was easy for him to say, you know what, it didn't quite work. He was handed a contract till December. And he has decided to go back to his club at Borussia Dortmund, but he's done a good job with the Ghana team. Remember at the start of the year, Ghana were at the Nations Cup and they had this absolutely abysmal tournament where they got knocked out in the group stage and they lost to a country called Comoros Island, and that hit the Ghanaians very hard. And he's done a good job, and he just feels like it's time to throw in the towel and go concentrate on his club football. Where Ghana football needs to go from here, I do not know, because they've got a really exciting young blend of experience and young players who are doing well, and hopefully they can, pick up the paces again and build their football and put it in the right direction.
But at least this wasn't like Roberto Martinez, because that one was one that...
Yeah, it wasn't like that. I mean, Roberto Martinez was a case of jumping before being pushed, because certainly he was going to be pushed, and he was
after
going
that
to push.
Abysmal results.
When you have De Bruyne in your team and Lukaku and Carrasco
and you can't do anything with them,
and you cannot achieve something with them, you just have to be sensible and just step aside before they use
I like that.
911 to take you out.
Respect yourself and keep on moving. Off you go. Bye bye. Thank you very much. Thank you. Next. Josh says, Inni, so England have beaten Senegal, Abby. Big deal. Well, it's time for them to go home because the French team are not smiling. They are dream killers, and unfortunately, the English dream ends here. I can't wait to read what the English press will write after they get knocked out in the quarterfinal. Meanwhile, with Mbappe, Giroud, they're not. And Taya says Uruguay and Ghana went out holding each other by the hand. They can settle themselves without VAR. I don't know why Suarez was weeping more than the bereaved, as if he was going to win the cup. Gian has finally handed the torch over to Ayu. What a relief to him. All right. Do we have time for? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make an executive decision. We're gonna go on a break. When we get back, we've got more for you. It's a world of sports right here inside the locker room. Keep it tuned to Smooth 98.1.
Music on Smooth
Kill.
98.1.
So next we'll do
Hello,
Giroud.
football fans. The biggest football event is here.
Then Japan
The
versus
Qatar
Croatia,
2022
Brazil
World Cup,
versus
and
Korea
BetKing has
Republic.
got you covered as always. Every World Cup is a chance for you to watch the highest
Ha,
level of
ha, ha,
football
he's thinking about
and the best
Germany.
players and
Arsene
international
Wenger
stars of the world.
of Hollywood.
Another World Cup trophy, and this will be no different. BetKing offers boosted odds that gives you the highest
Isaac
odds in the
success
market.
is
King's
amazing.
Combo, a combination of exciting markets with massive odds.
Oh God, I forgot that we said we're going to talk about Tyson Fury. Yes, I'm glad.
BetKing has also launched
Ah.
a World Cup hub where you can catch up on all the latest World Cup news.
We need to get
match
to this
reviews,
story.
comprehensive
We need to
team
get to
and
this
player
Tyson Fury
profiles,
story.
and even test your World Cup knowledge with the free-to-play games. Be sure to check it out on the BetKing website,
where am I?
betking.com. Are you still waiting? Go bet on your favorite teams and players to get that winning feeling on BetKing. That feeling, that's BetKing. Remember to play responsibly. Not for persons under the age of 18.
Smooth 98.1.
Hey, madam, please pass me 10 wraps of swallow. Hey, madam, please bring 5 goat meat, 5 bokoto, and 4 pomo. Hey, madam, pass another 10 swallow, please. And 4
All right,
pomo
let me
and
check the
fish.
YouTube feed. YouTube.com
What food is sweet, but kings know when
/1FM.
to stop. Bet responsibly.
Why do you like this too much?
Love music. Love life.
And I'm still not ready. All right, and we are back for more right here inside the locker room. Let's get back into things. Oh no, it's not Tyson Fury yet. It's not just yet. So let's talk Olivier Giroud, who has overtaken my man, the man. In fact, let me not make this about Thierry Henry because he is just the GOAT for me. Anyway, Giroud has overtaken Henry to become France's all-time top men scorer, netting his 52nd goal for Les Bleus in the World Cup round of 16 game against Poland yesterday.
Allez Blue, and it's been that kind of tournament for Olivier Giroud. Remember, France won the World Cup last time out, and Giroud was criticized for not scoring a single goal at the tournament. And at 36, he became the oldest man to score the World Cup before Ronaldo told him, hold on a second, I'm going to take that
Hold
away
my
from
boots.
you.
But here's the thing, right? And everybody has been like, oh, Giroud, doesn't have anything in him anymore. Isn't he a bit tired? Isn't he a bit old? Are you watching this Giroud? Is it the same Giroud we're all watching?
He's just enjoying himself, and he's getting into really good positions, and I think he's enjoying his partnership with Kylian Mbappe.
Oh, the love.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
A funny
unreal.
one, because at the Euros last year, there was a bit of back and forth between Giroud and Mbappe. It felt like there was no love lost there. And
Well, it's like they're sorting themselves out.
when Benzema, and that's why, as professionals, you've got to learn to be, very mature when things come up. And I think that's what Giroud and Mbappe have done. They sorted themselves out. And I always say that sports people, we don't necessarily need to be friends. We need to be professionals, to get on the pitch and get it done, play as a team and win. And Mbappe is enjoying himself, Giroud is scoring goals, and it's just fantastic. But if you had ever thought about, when you talk about, great players who played for the French national team, obviously Thierry Henry had the record for a long time. You've had David Trezeguet, you have Nicolas Anelka, Eric Cantona, great French strikers, Karim Benzema in recent times. To think about the fact that Giroud is the guy with the record is just quite surprising because he's not your everyday, top number 9,
Like
top
he wouldn't
center
be
forward.
automatically in your face.
Exactly. He's not the guy you favor. Doesn't have a lot of pace. He looks a bit, clumsy with the way he plays, but the consistency, the level of quality, he's persistent, to do it at 36 years is just quite incredible.
So he's like the silent horse, not the dark horse,
Yeah.
just the silent one.
It's just brilliant. It's just a lesson in longevity, a lesson in understanding how to manage your body. And because at 36, a top player at this level, just quite impressive.
But Mbappe didn't need longevity to be breaking records.
And I told someone yesterday, Messi scored his second goal against his third goal of the World Cup, his 9th in the World Cup history. Mbappe's second goal yesterday was Mbappe's 9th of the World Cup.
And for 2 appearances,
He's 23.
right?
Scary.
Yeah.
The record for World Cup goals is 15, I think, from the great Ronaldo. Mbappe's going to smash. He's going to take that record, keep it on the ground, use 4x4. And destroy it.
All things being equal, people.
All things being equal.
But I have to say, so people were comparing him to Pele, who, by the way, pray for him.
Yeah.
Because and Mbappe even said that, please pray for him. Everybody was saying that because the news came out that he might be receiving end of life care. Oh, that's one that nobody wants to see go.
No, I don't think anybody wants that story. Now it's a sad one, and I always say that Pele is synonymous with the World Cup. When you hear the World Cup, what comes to your mind is Pele, and he's the reason Brazil are at the forefront of football now because he championed their samba football, scoring goals, scored in the World Cup final as a teenager. An incredible icon, an absolutely football legend, and we pray for him. We want to have him around for a little longer.
Pele, you get to go when you're 1,000. Sorry, sir. You just have to keep on living till then. All right, so let's talk about today's games. What are the setups?
Yeah, Croatia take on Japan. Japan have done almost the impossible.
Japan have been felling giants. So
it's incredible how Japan. I remember just talking about a preview to the World Cup. I was talking about group by groups. I've had a lot of eggs in my face. When I talked about Japan group, easy one. Germany, Spain will qualify. Japan did not qualify. They qualified at top.
On Germany.
They qualified as top, and what they've done is quite incredible because when you look at Germany, you look at Spain, and you would think that with the leagues they have, the level of quality they have in the players, to have players from Japan, some of them play in the J League, in the Japanese league, some of them play for a lot of some small clubs here and then in Europe, but the level of organization, the athleticism, the quality, the desire, the will never to be beaten, because against Germany, the incredible thing is that they conceded first, came back from behind and won. Against Spain, the same thing, conceded first, came back from behind and won. It shows you that there's a spirit about them. There's an elasticity about them. There's something about the Japanese team that is great. And again, their fans are absolutely brilliant. They stay behind. Someone say,
yeah, they're always cleaning up. I love it.
Someone say they are cleaning up the crime scene. But Japan against Croatia today is a different kettle of fish. I think Croatia going to this game as favorites, slight favorites, but they are not too far away from Japan. So it shouldn't be that kind of game where you think Japan would sit back and allow Croatia to dominate all possession. Japan will fancy their chances. They will think that we can go up against Croatia and beat them. And when you do that, there's a chance that you get picked up. But this is the sort of game where it could go either way. It's a really interesting one. The other game is Brazil, South Korea, and I have no doubt in my mind it's going to be one-way traffic. Brazil are my pick for the World Cup trophy on the 18th of December. I just feel like they are picking at the right time. And I said this on Total Football, that if there's anything a manager loves when you go into a tournament, you want your top players to be in great shape to lock into the tournament, great shape and ready to play. France have seen that with Mbappe, great games so far, but Brazil look like they're in the mood. Vinicius Junior, Casemiro in midfield, Richarlison has scored a couple of goals already. They just look like they are prime and ready to win the tournament. And forget about what happened with Cameroon. That was not in the script, but I also think that if they needed the game, Cameroon doesn't win it. They didn't need the game. And it's a tough one against South Korea. It's a big ask. If South Korea beats Brazil, then we can be sure to say the world is coming close to an end.
Meanwhile, let's talk about my adopted only by myself father, Arsene Wenger, who suggested, and then I started reviewing the adoption papers, guys. He suggested the countries that protested at the World Cup before their first matches saw their on-field performances suffer, and I immediately was like, he's going to talk about Germany.
Yeah, I think he was talking about Germany. And Wenger is not going to have a lot of fans in Germany at the moment. Germany had a difficult tournament. And I'm very careful about weighing into this issue about protests, human rights, and whilst I understand that there are lots of issues that needs to be dealt with, I just feel that the timing was wrong. You're going to the World Cup, you need to concentrate and play the World Cup, and you've got all the time in the world.
Well, hold on, they can't do two things at once, because here's the thing for me, right? I know they're like, oh, football and politics should never mix, but they do.
Of course they
all
do.
the time.
All
In
the
fact,
time.
You cannot
all the
spell
time.
Football without spelling politics somehow.
Exactly.
It is
I
some
totally
strange
agree.
spelling.
I totally agree.
Now, here's the thing: the World Cup is a massive stage.
Yeah, it is.
Just like we've seen just like we saw the Iranian players coming out and saying, "We need to protest. This is what's happening at home."
Yeah.
We saw German players and a German minister coming out and being like, "Yeah, this stuff is happening," because there was so much brouhaha over Qatar
hosting the World Cup. Yeah, and my problem is, why didn't we make this much noise about it earlier?
Well, people have been making noise about it. The closer you get to World Cup and when you're finally in the World Cup.
No, I get it. The stage is quite big. It was an opportunity to be heard. It feels like we've been talking, but no one has been listening, and we've got an opportunity to really say something. But I think Arsene Wenger is just looking for trouble. I just think that he just wants to stoke the fire a little bit. Arsene Wenger, I understand that, because Wenger in the past few years, since he left Arsenal, and got the job at FIFA, Wenger has been making some incredible suggestions in football. Oh, let's take penalties from group stages in the World Cup. Oh, football has to change. We need to do this and do that. And I just feel like he's just trying to shade Germany a little bit, because if Germany had qualified, I guarantee Wenger doesn't say this. I guarantee he doesn't say this. It just feels like, see why you lost concentration and now you're out of the group stage. But I think it's a non-issue in my opinion.
Meanwhile, Tyre says Iran have disbanded their morality police post Iran's outing in the World Cup. He's just saying, and I'm just reading. So Isaac's success, let's talk about this. Now, he's extended his Udinese contract, pending a new deal that runs up into 2024.
Yeah, it's a good one for Isaac's success. Another one who was really stalled in his career, when he came out with the youth team, I think on the Golden Eaglets, he was such a bright spark. He looked like one that was ready to really go into the big time, but it quite hasn't happened for him. Saw him at Watford, flatter to deceive, inconsistency, lifestyle of the pitch, not quite great, but he's managed to keep his head for a while now with Udinese, and he's been rewarded with a new contract. And I just hope that he can go in that way and build his football, because I always say that when you talk about Ronaldo and Messi and the great players who've done things for a very long period of time, you've got to check out their lifestyle and understand that these people take care of themselves a lot. They take care of their bodies a lot. They are the most disciplined if you in the game.
It's like the old school musicians.
Exactly.
That's why you see George Benson at like his 76 or 80 something, just still grooving up on the stage.
So you cannot last in the game for that long, quality wise, if you're not disciplined off the pitch. And I wish Isaac success the best. I think he's someone who was a great player, who's a wonderful footballer, and I just hope that this new deal can propel him into building something great for himself, and maybe, just maybe, making a return to the Super Eagles.
We'll see. Like I have any say. Okay, and I'll read a couple of messages and then we'll talk about Tyson Fury. I think we'll save that for last. So Neracello says it's quite sad that the Cinderella story for the African teams came to an end. Congrats to Giroud, once a gunner, always a gunner, and Mbappe is too young for the record. Neracello, wow, where did that ageist remark come from? Chimal B. Victor says Senegal losing against England never came as a surprise at all. And for today's game, I see Brazil and Japan going to the next round. Even Brother Iniobong will agree with me on this. Olufemi says the quality of Qatar's World Cup has been fantastic, unlike what folks thought it would be. True.
Yeah, true.
True. And I think that's the thing, right? And why the same reason why Russia went for the World Cup hosting, right? And why Qatar went, because once the World Cup starts and the surprises happen, the David start felling the Goliaths, and things like that. People are like, oh my God, wow.
We'll forget about everything. I'll just talk football. Exactly.
Football is a mind control thing, is a memory control thing. And Mecca from Amua says, on that Messi goal, he looked for who to pass the ball. Then he said to himself, nuh-uh, I'm the GOAT. He truly proved himself. As for the Americans, also they stopped calling the sports game soccer. They're not going anywhere. My brother, I'm with you on this. Soccer. All right. And Tyson Fury pummeled Derek Chisora in bleakly predictable fashion, the article says, when he stopped the brave but hopelessly outclassed challenger in the 10th round at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday night. It says it all, in fact.
Yeah, Derek Chisora stood no chance whatsoever. And Tyson Fury is a moving train. He's going to take everything out of his way. And I'm looking forward to him going up against Joe Joyce or Alexander Usyk. That's what he says. You know, one of those fights has got to happen in 2023. You know, it's got to happen in 2023. It's just looks. I saw that our own Anthony Joshua looks like he's been relegated to the back burner. But
do you want him to go against?
No, I don't. I don't want him to be honest. But I'm looking forward to it. I felt for Derek Chisora. I'm sure he's made a few quid out of this one. But that's what it is, because when you get beat like that, the consolation has got to be, I made a lot of money from this fight. That's got to be the consolation, because he was really pummeled. He was beaten black and blue, like we said. And I mean, how do you stop Tyson Fury? I mean, how do you go up against Tyson Fury? He's just incredible.
Eddie, there was this point at which you just stopped, like your breath was hovering. You were trying to look for words, and like, I can't find any words to explain this fight. It's just, it was over. That's what it was over. Sorry, Derek. You got paid for it in the end. That's all, guys. And that's it for the locker room. We are done. But make sure you catch you're at underscore Monday underscore Iniobong. Yeah, cool. Still remember, that's how much you were in our memory. All right, so I'll be back with more 9 o'clock Lagos. You will be talking.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a great day.
See you on Wednesday.
All right, see you Wednesday.